Hi everybody, my name is Tania and welcome to my channel. I'm a nutrition and health coach. I've just qualified. I studied last year and my journey began in October 2024 when I had acid reflux and digestive problems, which then made me interested in nutrition. So then I started the course. I'm practicing podiatrist at the moment, but this year I'm feeling really optimistic, really excited, and I can look forward to my new next phase of my career. So today I have decided to use one of my many recipes from my many cookbooks, which I keep collecting, and I'm making a chocolate banana and pecan flapjack. But because it's me, I don't always have the ingredients in the house to make this recipe. I had to dash out. There was one ingredient I couldn't find, so I'm going to have to compromise yet again. So I'm following the recipe, but I've made a few tweaks to it just to make it more nutritious by adding more nuts and seeds. And I'm also the recipe says 100 grams of golden syrup. Well, last week I wanted to use my Biona organic date syrup, and I started using this product ingredients last year when my husband came home one day and one of his clients for some reason had given him one of these bottles. So I tested it out. It's really, really nice. So this adds a more of a rich, mellow taste. And if you like dates, you like this. So that's the compromise for today. So what we're going to do first, I've prepared my ingredients out. So you don't want me to be you don't want to be watching me chopping all my food and weighing all my ingredients. So I've done the majority of it. So I'm following this recipe. So I'm going to put the butter into the pan with the brown sugar, with the syrup and date syrup. I'm going to have to compromise on my ratio. Last week I used 30 grams of golden syrup and 70 grams of the date syrup. So anyway, it's 100 grams in total. But I'll put the recipe down under the description of the video. So we are going to put the butter, sugar, syrup and chocolate into the pan and lightly melt it, and that's the first phase. The chocolate I've used is dark chocolate. It's worth getting proper chocolate. So the dark chocolate I have is 70 or 75 grams of dark chocolate. So I'm going to do that now. So we'll put the butter in. We're going to put the brown sugar in. Give it some nice depth. And I'm going to put the pan on my weighing scale. Put the pan there, and then I press a button to tare it, which means it just goes to 0. And then I can do my ratio of syrup into the pan. So we are going to do as much of the date syrup as I can get out. I went to my local supermarket before I came onto the video, Morrison's, and they don't have it, so I don't know where I got it. I might have got it online or maybe Waitrose. And then I'm going to tare it again. It's just called tare, it means 0. And I'm going to put 30 grams of syrup on. Add it's 150 grams of dark chocolate. So mine's already grated, but it doesn't really matter. It's just how I bought it. So you just chop up your cubes with your hands and then just put it in. It all melts, so it's all the same. Everything's been melted in the pan. I've got a heat-proof mat there. So I'm going to add the pecan nuts. So this recipe is great, yet again, for an energy boost. I tend to have a slice either with my protein balls, which was in one of my previous videos, or I have a flapjack. I normally have it when I finish work, and I normally have it about 4 o'clock, and then I generally go to a circuit class or a Pilates class, but it fills me up. I have it about an hour, 90 minutes before I do my exercise, and that sees me through until I have my evening meal. Me and my husband tend to eat about 7:30, 8 o'clock. We always have done. So having one of the, depending on how big your slice is, my slice is quite generous, but I enjoy it, and it does fill you up. So I've chopped my pecan nuts. I'm going to add my rolled oats, and you don't want the oats which are fine. You want the rolled oats, the more coarse type, which haven't been refined. So the better for you, basically. They haven't been stripped from the goodness. Still haven't finished. So the moment I put 300 grams in, the recipe says 425. I'm just stirring this in at the moment. I will add the rest. And in addition to this recipe, I decided last week that I wanted to add more seeds. Because there weren't any seeds actually, they're just oats and pecans. And I want to add more fibre, more omega. The omega you'll get in the flax seeds. Put 30 grams in. These are sunflower seeds. Okay. Those will go in. I'm going to add my favourite pumpkin seeds. One of my favourite seeds. 30 grams of those, roughly. Doesn't have to be exact. And again, it's on preference. And we will add 2 tablespoons of flax seeds, which has the good healthy, well, all the nuts and seeds, they're all healthy, but flax seeds and walnuts apparently, they have the omegas in. And I'm going to do 30 grams of walnuts. I tend to have the hazelnuts, the almonds and the walnuts. If you also specifically wanting to cut out sugar totally, I find that walnuts, a handful, they say recommendations about 30 grams of nuts, assortments of nuts a day, is really good for you. I watch lots of programs, I read lots of things and podcasts. I listen to Dr. Chatterjee, which is recently done a TV program this week about how food can cure you than just going on medication. Obviously, if you have an autoimmune disease, that's a totally different, subject. So anyway, it's worth watching. And there's another one this week, and it was What Not to Eat. I think that was by Tim Spector. And then there was on Monday, there was something on, I think, Channel 4, and that was to do with protein, for people who don't know much about protein. So, everything a good mix. So I made this last week. I used a diameter, so across 8 inches, round tin, any tin you want. I quite packed mine quite thick, so that's how I like mine. I was conscious I didn't want to cut it and then it would break up. Some of my recipes in the past, I've tried many. Sometimes they're a bit soft, sometimes they just crumble. But with this one, I found that it worked quite well. So I'm going to add 100 grams of extra oats. I put 300 in, I'm doing another 100. Everything is covered with the chocolate. And you bake at, on here it says, if you have a fan assisted oven, 170 Celsius, which is gas mark 5. And feels you need to do another 5 minutes, that's up to you. Again, each oven's different, you know your oven, so this recipe, which is, I bought this book years ago, The Good Housekeeping, is usually a good one to go. I don't do every single recipe, I have loads of recipe books. They do a chocolate frosting on top, but I think this is sweet enough. I don't really think you need any more chocolate to add more calories. I'm not going to be using double cream, butter, more brown sugar icing. I'm not interested in that. So I tend to keep all toppings off all my cakes. My main cake I do is the carrot cake. I don't feel as though I need any frosting on that. It's sweet enough, it's really nice, it's really moist. I don't do any frosting on a coffee cake and ginger cake. Those are 3 I tend to do. And in summer I do a lemon and blueberry cake. If you could subscribe, that would be great. Try to engage in comments, that would be wonderful. Okay, so I am now going to put everything into my baking tray. I'm back, I'm just having a rest, waiting for my flapjacks to cook in the oven. I have a confession. I made a mistake with my recipe. I omitted one thing, and that is 2 medium bananas smashed, and that should have been combined within my flapjack. However, I got sidetracked and I was conscious that my husband, who isn't usually around, was in the next room and he was annoying me. So we will blame my mistakes on my husband. Anyway, we shall go on. So my next video, I'm quite excited because last year in 2025 I tried a lot of new things. I made, and I've done really well. I'm happy with what I do. I make sourdough twice a week from scratch. And then when you do the actual sourdough bread, you do need to be around the entire day, in and out of the house. It's a day of nurturing this bread loaf, and then you put it in the fridge overnight, and in the morning, oven goes on to 230 degrees Celsius, and you bake the bread in what I've been using is called a Dutch oven, which is like just a big cast iron, but the lid is domed, so it creates more moisture inside. And I do that twice a day. So, waffling on, do my sourdough, and then a few months ago I started making my own kefir. Kefir is like a soured milk yoghurt. I was putting it in the smoothies every morning for my husband, and it's quite expensive to buy. It's about £4.50 a bottle, but you just want the plain. You don't want the flavoured ones because they're just added sugar. So I make my own and do that every day. Again, if anybody's interested, I will show you. And this is my kefir. You might be able to see, but what happens is the grains, the live culture, they start at the bottom and they float up, but they're eating the milk. And every day, at a certain point, I drain the whole content using has to be a silicone or a plastic sieve. Apparently anything which is fermented doesn't like metal. And then that goes in the fridge. And then I start again. Whatever granules I have left goes into another container. The longer you leave it to ferment, so between 24, I've done up to maybe 30 hours, it actually separates into a whey. When you drain the whey off, it's like a clear fluid. And when you sieve it into a jug and then to pour it into a container, it comes out a little bit thicker. The third habit that I built, so this is habit stacking. It's a habit. It wasn't a habit. It was a new skill I developed, and by doing something often, the habit becomes then natural. So it's an automatic thing you do. So my third was that I knew winter was coming and my Raynaud's would start kicking in, which is a circulation problem in my hands and my feet, and that is to do with temperature. And I knew for years, but I didn't do anything about it. I have been on medication for years and years and I threw all my medication away. And I decided to, in summer, make some ginger juices. I was buying them, and again, it's just costing money. So I thought, I wonder if I can do my own. So I found a recipe. I went on ChatGPT, which is great, and it came up with a little recipe for me. Really easy. That was my very first video. If you go to video number 1, I've been having that every morning using a very small glass. I've really enjoyed that. Last week I tried, I had a big bag of carrots. So I thought, I don't want to waste them. So I thought, well, I haven't used my juicer. Got my juicer out. And I chucked in all the good bits of the carrots. It was a bag, and I had 2 pairs. Could have seen better days, just slightly, and I put them in, and my carrot and pear juice, that was beautiful, really, really nice. I recommend that. These days when you buy electronics, they don't give you a book anymore. They give you like a QR code. You've got to scan it, and then it gives you the book. Well, to download, print the book off, especially in colour, and it's talking about all vegetable juices and all ideas. I wouldn't want to print it off in black and white, but it had tons of sheets. So I've just kept it on my computer as a PDF. But I wish these companies would just give you the book. It's just annoying. So for 2026, I want to go down the route of anti-inflammatory, Mediterranean food. It's been on my mind for quite a while. When I have an idea, I think about it for ages and ages and ages before I take the plunge. So I'd come across a book which had been recommended. I can't remember by who or what or where I'd seen it. And if you're interested in following my journey, it's called the Anti-Inflammatory Detox Diet Cookbook. When you say diet, it's not like a diet, it's just a different way of eating. I don't believe in calorie counting diets. I'm not on a diet. I just want to eat a better, healthier option, and I'm still exploring. And the anti-inflammatory really interested me because of my condition. When I have my Raynaud's and it's in full blast, my fingers swell up, my knuckles, they're painful, specifically at night time, and they give me a lot of pain. And they go red and swollen. I have to, like, my wedding ring is on this hand, not this hand at the moment, and my fingers go up and down. But this year, what I have noticed, and it could be totally coincidence, is since I've been having my ginger, the difference that I have this year is my fingers don't just swell up and stay swollen for 4 weeks. They seem to be up and down, up and down. Before it would twinge, it would go sore, feel like a blister, and then really swell up. This year is different. I don't know whether it's because I'm eating more ginger, or the weather sometimes is really, really cold and then it goes warm, or because maybe there's some element because I'm having ginger. However, I still like the ginger juice. I enjoy it. So, but something is different. But this is it's not sponsored. Nothing's been gifted. This is just my interest, and I would like to, come on the journey with me to try these different recipes with my twist, because I never have everything in the ingredients. Another one which came of interest, and again, it was recommended by my peers, my fellow student peers. They do a lot of Instagram watching, and they said this lady called Sophie Richards is supposed to be really good. So I'm curious. I bought it. Let's see. It says the anti-inflammatory 30-day reset. So that's another one that I haven't started. I only received it yesterday, but I'm going to flick through this year and try that alongside with the other one, Ferment Book. I saw this guy, Kenji Morimoto. He was interviewed a few months ago. Sounded really interesting. And last year I started eating sauerkraut, some sort of, because it's a probiotic, very good. It feeds your microbiome, and as you know, there's been a lot of research on that. I'm curious to buy the sauerkraut. Is quite expensive, £4.50 a jar. I'm the only one who eats it. My husband wouldn't eat it. Last year, when I was asking people, I got cross messages. Some people said it wasn't to their taste. Some said it was nice. Some acquired taste. I just thought, cabbage. But however, I tried it because I was trying to sort my gut out, digestion, and I really liked it. It's just like, if you like pickles, you like the basic sauerkraut. I used to buy it from Marks and Spencer's as a treat, and then they stopped doing it, and they only did the kimchi, I think it was, and the spicy ones. I didn't fancy those, but I did find the plain one in Waitrose the other day. I want to make my own, so never done any fermented food as such. Well, I suppose sourdough, the beginning of it is, and the kefir is, but I've never pickled or fermented vegetables. So I was really interested. The book looks really interesting. There's a generic basic sauerkraut that I'm going to follow. And what I'll do, I'm going to start that with you next week. It's all new to me. So if you're interested, watch me. I bought my fermentation bottles. So when you put the cabbage in the jar, you have to weigh down. So I have some glass weights with my fermentation jars. It's all new. If you don't have that, it says the last cabbage leaf in full tact. You put it inside, wrap it over the sliced cabbage, squash it down, make sure the brine is above the cabbage, which is really important, and no bubbles. But as the fermentation goes, bubbles are created. So what I will do is I'll make the sauerkraut next week for next Sunday. Today's Saturday, and a week later, as I do another video, I'll keep popping back to my jar to show you what's happening to my jar and the taste. Now, one thing I really don't like is when you try a new recipe out or something like that, it doesn't go to plan, or the taste is really horrible, you're very disappointed. It frustrates me, and I think of the time I've done wasted, and the money, actually making it. I mean, but on this occasion, sauerkraut is just cabbage, isn't it? So it's not too bad. But I'm always a bit suspicious of new recipes. But I'm being brave this year, and I'm trying all these new things. So that's the ferment book. There you go. Again, like I say, nothing has been given to me. Everything I bought. And another one, it says quick wins, healthy cooking for busy lives. And that's what when I was doing my case studies last year, people who I was dealing with were in their 30s, late 30s. They had small children, they had a young family, and they were all really busy. They didn't have time to spend hours in the kitchen. So my oven's going off, my flapjack, I'm going to go and check. And then you just, I'll put it in the fridge just to really cool it down. And then when it's a little bit cool, I'll just start slicing. So, okay. So that's okay. It looks okay. Wish I'd put my bananas in though. Anyway, just before I go, because obviously I'm a nutrition and health coach. So research shows, there's been some research that where they had people who ate quickly and people who ate slowly. And they found that the more slow you eat, more mindful, more chewing, those people were fuller in the long term. Kind of makes sense. Just try to slow your eating down. And this is why I'm a fan of mindful eating. I have slowed down. I was never a quick eater. I'm more mindful. I like my food. I like it to be tasty, and I want to taste what I'm eating. The other nerdy thing is there's a word called cephalic phase. So before you even have food in your mouth, your brain sees the food, whether it's coming on your knife and fork or in your hand, and that's when it starts triggering off your saliva glands in your mouth. And apparently, it's called a cephalic phase, in case no one knows. So those are my two nerdy bits to end the video. So please make some comments, engage. If you have any ideas on fermentation, have you done fermentation before? Have you tried anti-inflammatory foods? Are you interested? So I'll see you next week on my Fermentation Journey 2026, episode 1.